Good afternoon. The time is 4:01, and I would like to call to order the September 15th meeting of the Traffic Authority. We have a quorum. We have Commissioner Collier Clemens, Commissioner Nate Sumter, Commissioner Ron Palladino, Commissioner Tony Lopez, and Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda is public participation. If you're here to speak on an item that's on the agenda and you're here to explain the situation, if you can wait until we get to that item, then we will hear what you have to say. But is there anybody else that wishes to speak to the authority? We have Diane Cece. Ms. Cece, if you will unmute yourself and you can speak on an item that's on the agenda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, the connection through Zoom just came up, so I don't know if other people spoke or what I may have missed, but you weren't connected to the public as best I can tell. It just opened up for me. But at any rate, good afternoon. I wanted to speak. This is Diane Cece with East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. I just wanted to speak on item F as in Frank for the proposed park. Whoops, am I still on?
Yep, you are.
Oh, okay, thank you. The proposed parking restrictions for Howard Avenue.
Okay.
I wanted to raise a couple of concerns on this, but actually ask you to table this item for a month or so, based on my comments and some concerns that ENNA would have. Some of you may recall or may not recall when the application went through for 93 Winfield for the apartment complex there, or condo complex.
Mhm.
But ENNA had expressed some serious concerns about not just the traffic, but specifically the parking requirements and whether or not the reconfiguration, even with the reduced units, would allow for adequate on-site parking. And I suspect now that some of what folks on Howard Avenue may be experiencing could be due to overflow parking from that development. Although I'm sure the TMP staff could speak to that. And also I wanted to point out that this request is coming before you based on, in the staff memo, it says that they had a concern raised from a single resident on the street. And I'm concerned about that because there's a lot of houses on the street. And if the intent of staff is only to notify the residents after or ahead of the installation of the signs, but after your possible approval today, that other residents who live there would not be aware of this proposed change and wouldn't have had an opportunity to comment on it. I do know that Mr. Young received comment from one resident for sure at 11 Howard, because I spoke with her directly to make her aware of this. And in this particular case, she is one of the houses that is identified in your proposal that would benefit due not only to the sight line, but access for her own driveway to get in and out safely and to make that turn there. But I do think it's important that before you possibly approve this, that the rest of the residents on that street that would be impacted get notified ahead of time. The other thing I want to say is that the remedy that you have here for the sight line, I'm a little confused about that because I know that when this application went through for 93 Winfield, that the city required a traffic analysis be done, and Hardesty, Mike Galante from Hardesty provided planning and zoning with that information. And in that report, I believe it was stated that that there had to be consideration for sightline impacts. And again, I would say that if staff hasn't already done this, I think they need to take a look at what's actually causing all of these cars now to be on Howard. That's actually creating the sightline and the limited access to get through over there.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
You're coming up on 3 minutes.
Oh, goodness. Okay. And then, so let me just say this too, because this is important. I probably should have opened with this, Mayor. I think when I look at this map and I look at the proposed restrictions, I understand why this is being proposed from a safety and sightline point of view. But I think that then we're at risk of fixing one problem, but creating another. Because the parking spaces may go away for 280 feet, which I know also includes some driveways. So the available parking may go away, but the cars are not going to go away. And so while you may remedy some sightline issues for one or two residents, you may be shifting these vehicles that will create a problem either in different parts of Howard or on the surrounding streets that staff identified to you. So again, I'm requesting that this get tabled and hope the commissioners would see that maybe needs a little bit more review and some public communication as well. And thank you for letting me go over.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the traffic authority?
We have no one else raising their hand.
Okay, so we will close public participation. We have the acceptance of the minutes. This is the next item on the agenda. Approve the traffic authority meeting minutes from August 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Don't be
So
shy.
moved.
Who's making the motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Commissioner Lopez. Are there any corrections, omissions, or deletions?
I have none.
I have none, Mayor.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
On the record, I abstain.
Okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens will abstain. Now we move on to new business. Item A, Ms. Brialt, is Ms. Brialt here?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I am here.
Okay. Just for the record, this is an item that has been approved in the past, as has the next item as well. So Ms. Brialt, if you want to address the commission.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. We're having
I'll
our
have
third.
Excuse me 1 minute, a motion to move forward for discussion.
I
I
will
move
move
for
item
discussion
A.
item A, Fran Collier Simmons.
Okay. Okay, now Ms. Brielle.
Thank you. We're having our third annual Halloween Night Fair on October 25th from 2 to 10 p.m. It's a Saturday. And we're asking to approve some road closures and some closures for local traffic on the day of. We'll be starting a local traffic closure at 8 a.m. and it should last until 10 p.m. from MLK Drive to the entrance of the Webster Street lot. And then the entirety of Madison Street should be local traffic only as well. This is for the SAFA Via employees to reach their lot and also patrons that want to utilize the post office. A full closure will be Washington Street from the entrance of the Webster Street lot all the way to the Pearl. And also from Marshall Street to the to Haviland Street. And that closure should last from 8 a.m. to midnight.
Any questions from the authority? Okay.
I just have a quick comment, suggestion, just as a precaution to the police staff. Only because I've had 2 incidents on Madison Street and Martin Luther King, that very intersection that is going eastbound, that not be blocked off, that it be clearly allowed for local deliveries, as well as local residents.
Understood, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Any further comments or discussion?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none.
I have no other. Thank you.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item is another item that we have done in the past. Item B, can I have somebody move that forward for discussion?
I will move that forward, Mayor.
Okay,
Item
Commissioner
B.
Palladino. That's the approve the full closure of Washington between Martin Luther King Drive and North Main Street for the 2025 holiday extravaganza. Ms. Braille is here to speak on that as well.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll have our 4th annual holiday extravaganza on Saturday, December 6th from 4 to 8 p.m. And we're requesting a full closure from MLK to the Train Bridge, Washington Street from 2 to 9 p.m., as well as a partial closure for local traffic from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Madison Street for the Sapavia employees.
Are there any questions from the commission? I know this has been done in the past several years, and it's always been a wonderful event for the community to come out and have a family affair. It's really quite an event. I've attended all of them, and I think some of the commissioners have as well.
Yes, they are wonderful events. I'm just concerned, how does this impact Sapavia with those complete closures, street closures?
So their employees will have access to their employee lot behind Sapavia. That's why we're asking for the partial closure for local traffic. And well before the event, usually a month before, we go to Sapavia personally and notify the employees that this event is happening so they can well prepare for it.
All right, thank you.
I only ask that the same be considered for Madison Street again, Chief. I do appreciate that very much.
Roger that, sir.
Okay, any further comments, discussion, or questions?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none.
I have no other. Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Opposition, opposed? Abstentions, motion carries unanimously. Next, item number C. Can I have somebody move that for discussion?
I'll move that for discussion. Item C, which has to do with the approved proposed multi-week full closure of Catherine Street between Grand and West Main Street. And that's for Eversource.
Okay, and who will be discussing that from the city side?
So this one will be by Eversource Gas Project Manager Ryan Buckland.
Okay, you have the floor if you will unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time. Eversource Gas is requesting a road closure on Catherine Street between Grand Street and West Main Street in order to replace aging gas infrastructure underneath the railroad. Our anticipated duration is 18 working days, which is about 3.5 weeks. And it would need to be a continuous closure for that duration, as there is large equipment that would have to be installed in the roadway in order to make the utility replacement. At this time, we wanted to present this as the scheduling is subject to the permitting of the railroad and traffic authority approval. So this is likely the first time that this is presented. At this time, we don't have the exact dates, but it is anticipated that this work shall be completed by the end of 2025.
Okay, any discussion or questions from the authority?
So you indicated that it would be ending 2025. So when I didn't see that. When does it start? How long?
It's anticipated to start as early as mid-October, but we don't have a solid date yet. We had just put this project out to bid and had our awarded bidders. So right now we're working on getting the permitting from the railroad through the bidders. So there is kind of an unknown. So it's right now it's subject to the railroad allowance for us to perform the work. Our
But
target
I
is
see,
to have,
I'm
Yep.
sorry. But I see that once it starts, it's 3 to 5 weeks. Is that correct or incorrect?
it should be 3 to 5 weeks from start to finish. It'll likely be on the shorter duration.
And I guess a lot of that will depend on the weather in terms of Mr. Buckland. I said some of it will have to do with the weather, depending on how the weather cooperates.
Yeah, I mean, 18 days is fair weather, assuming. But you know, if we need to meet that, there's no reason that we can't have extended, you know, try to do extended hours or try to do 24/7 if that's something that you need to consider for us to meet our window to get that work done in that time frame.
So, Mr. Buckle, can you help me understand, maybe on the map or, you know, just what the new detour is gonna be? I'm looking at arrows, so it's gonna be detoured away from where to where?
So between Grand Street and West Main Street, so any traffic that would be going down Catherine Street would be going down Grand Street through New Canaan to get to Main Street, and then any traffic that happens to support any business on Catherine Ave can you know, will still be able to be maintained up until till we have the barricades on Catherine Street where we're doing the activity.
So the businesses specifically, if I recall correctly, there's one on that corner on Main Street, right? And then I think there's storage facilities on Grand Street. Are those the ones that you're referring to?
We shouldn't actually impact any businesses with the closure. There are 2 residents on the eastern side of this map, on the east
Right.
southeast side of the railroad. The businesses
Oh,
still
that's
will
right,
have
that's right,
full
there is.
traffic.
That's right. There's one closer to the tracks. That's correct. Right.
Yeah, and we will maintain driveway access for those residents at all times.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion or comment?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none, Mayor.
I have no, thank you.
I have none.
I would be happy as long as they fix the paving when they finish so that it doesn't feel like a washboard.
Well, fix the paving the way it is before they start, because they fix it and it's not acceptable to us.
Correct.
Will we be
further-
given notice of the start date of this project once the railroad gives their okay or whatever?
Yes, I mean, I'm in constant communication with Ben. We have, you know, our weekly meetings with the town, the DPW. So we're still waiting to, you know, we want to ensure that we at least give the residents 2-week to 4-week notice prior to the activity start, and we will definitely keep you informed as well.
Okay, then make sure we are informed of that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. We will now need to move forward item D. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
I move item,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I move item D for discussion,
Okay,
Leanne Drive and Carruthers.
we have Ben Jung here.
That'll be me. So the first TMP item here is a proposed change to parking regulations on Leanne Drive and Carruthers Lane. So these are small, relatively quiet local residential streets just northeast of Norwalk High School. So in recent months, the residents of Carruthers Lane and Leanne Drive have reached out to us several times with the same complaints. Basically, ever since construction at the high school started, it has seemed to displace some of the student parking to the local neighborhood. And while there are no parking during school hours restrictions on some of the nearby streets surrounding Norwalk High School, there aren't any here. So it seems like some of the students are flocking to this nearby cul-de-sac and taking up a lot of the parking that could be used by residents and their guests. And also it's getting to the point where it's actually becoming a public safety and operations hazard because Carruthers Lane and Leanne Drive are relatively narrow streets. When students are parked on both sides of the street, it is seeming to inhibit proper passing, especially of larger vehicles such as garbage trucks. Not to mention, you know, should there be an emergency, it could be a problem for a fire truck. So what we're proposing here is to restrict parking during school hours on one side of the street for both Carruthers Lane and Leanne Drive. So this would be sort of a phase 1 pilot implementation. We're leaving some amount of parking of curb space unregulated, just in case the residents themselves need to use it, or you know, they have visitors or contractors that come during the day and they need to have some place to park. So you'll see there's some amount of curb space that doesn't have any colored line on it. These are the unregulated spaces that would be left. However, should there still be an issue, so we would let this you know, run for about a month or two, and should there still be a problem with students, you know, kind of sneaking in and taking up these remaining parking spaces, then we could implement no parking during school hours on the entirety of Leanne and Carruthers, should the residents agree. So we have sort of this phased implementation. So what I'm asking you to review and approve today is the whole approach. The idea that we would implement the no parking during school hours on one side of the street first, and you know, should there still be problems based on, you know, staff review, we would be already pre-authorized to go ahead and implement no parking during school hours on the rest of the street. So just to be clear, we do have a good amount of neighbor support. Back in April 2025, local residents put together a petition for no parking during school hours on one side of the street. It was signed by residents of 13 different households on Leanne Drive and Carruthers Lane. That's more than 50% of the households. As far as the students, what are they to do? We've been in contact with the high school administration. Technically, students are supposed to be parking during the course of this construction over at Andrews Field, which is west of the school on County Street, and it's a short walk away from the school. You know, it's just it's been something that's been difficult for the school administration to follow up with and enforce, because, you know, there is still this possibility of free nearby parking. So it seems like students are taking advantage of that as opposed to going to the offsite lot where they're supposed to be going. So we kind of want to close this loophole basically, and get this no parking during school hours restriction in to help give the residents there some peace of mind.
Any questions from the authority?
Yes, I do. Mr. Young, you cited as far as for the students, and you made reference to the field. What seems to be the hesitancy for the students to use the lot? Is it farther away? Is it mud? Is it not maybe enough capacity? What may there be that prompts them and incentivizes them to go elsewhere? I'm trying to understand that.
So the lot is maybe slightly further. It seems that as the crow flies from Leanne Drive to the high school, it's slightly closer, but only because if you see at the west end of this cul-de-sac here, it borders a condo complex called Norwest. Students are cutting through the woods here in this complex, and that's what makes the walk shorter. And it also actually that's sort of a related problem, the fact that students are sort of walking through this area and this private condo complex. So the point is, yeah, it's maybe slightly further from Andrews Field, but not overwhelmingly further. And there are students that park at Andrews Field, which is a paved lot with plenty of available space. And we've verified that, you know, at multiple times, both this past week and also back in last spring. So I think there is a kind of a minor fee for permitting or processing. I need to check on what that fee is with the school administration. It's something like maybe $15 or $20. And maybe there's a time cost associated with that, just the fact that the students need to go somewhere and fill out a form. So, you know, I've encouraged the school administration to try to make it as easy as possible for students to get the permits that they need to park at Andrews Field, and to continually encourage students and their parents, you know, that this is the proper thing to do, to
Yeah,
not
that's
park
exactly
on.
my
Yeah.
thought and sentiment. Thank you.
Mr. Young, on the proposed no parking around the circle in the cul-de-sac, are they parking there now? Are
Yes,
students
generally,
parking there now?
yeah.
Okay, and I know in the yellow you said that this is part of phase 1, and after a month you'll monitor the patterns that are used, and if necessary, we'll go to phase 2. But will the no parking in blue remain even after the completion of the project at Norwalk High?
So for I mean, yeah, these whatever regulations are implemented, they would be permanent unless there was a need to rescind those. So the no parking during school hours regulations on other nearby streets around the high school, they've been in place for years, well before the construction even started. So our thought is that these new regulations would stay in place regardless, you know, even after the construction. And then as far as the blue, in general, drivers, whether they're students or residents, they shouldn't be parking in the inside of the circle anyway, because it constrains garbage trucks and other large vehicles from completing the maneuver around the circle.
Okay. Thank you.
Further comments, discussion, questions?
Mr. Young, I just wonder if doing phase 1 is going to just delay phase 2 from ultimately happening.
So the reasoning behind just starting with phase 1, even though we do have a good amount of support so far, 13 of the 24 households, you know, it's still hard to get complete support. We haven't had anybody that has explicitly spoken out against the no parking during school hours idea. However, various residents have voiced the idea that a better long-term solution might be something like a residential permits parking program. So in the parking authority meetings, I know that's something that they're actively discussing, and it's something that may come to fruition in the near future. However, because we want to be fair to all the residents on the street and make sure that, you know, should they have some need for on-street parking during the day, they still have something available. So the idea here is that the no parking during school hours signs will be posted to be in view as you enter Carruthers Lane. You turn the corner here, you'll see the no parking during school hours, and hopefully that's enough to deter students from, you know, trying to park there. Residents who are in the know will know that maybe, you know, the other side of Carruthers Lane will be technically free for parking. But the fact of the matter is, because we have to create these regulations to apply to everybody, resident and student equally, we just want to make sure that we leave some unregulated space available for the residents and their visitors.
Thank you for the clarification.
Have you had any blowback from the administrators and letting the students know that it is a safety hazard?
Any pushback from the, no, I
Yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
administration for the high school is in support of, whatever we can do to help discourage parking in the residential areas. They're trying to get the students to park where they should, and obviously it's not great for public relations to have all the students parking and causing hazards on these nearby streets.
So, Mr. Young, you said this before, but I am concerned, of course, on how easy they make it available for the students to use that parking lot, and of course, the cost.
Yeah.
After all, they are students.
So I can follow up on what exactly the factors might be that are leading students to try to skirt the rules, I guess. There may be some other factors that I'm not aware of as well.
Thank you.
Further comments or discussion?
I have none.
Well, Mr. Young, when you speak with Norwalk High, although we have no authority with the high school as to what they charge or what they don't charge, would you please convey to them our concern about the cost for the students and they're not using that parking lot?
Certainly. Yeah. Whatever the fee is, I'm pretty sure it's a nominal fee just to help cover the cost of processing, but yeah, we'll try to get to the bottom of what we can do to incentivize students to actually park at Andrews Field. So I'll
Thank
convey
you.
that. Thank you.
I just had one question. With regard to the students parking there, prior to the building of the new school, there haven't been a problem with students, and they, with the new school, there will be, it's probably never enough, but they will have a lot more parking, or will the parking be pretty much the same as it was before with, in terms of the number of spaces?
I'll double check on both the total number of parking spaces available at the new school and how the administration plans to allocate those spaces, student versus faculty versus other. So I'm not sure exactly on how that would compare to how it was before, but we can check on that, and that'll feed into our decisions on whether to move towards phase 2 or not.
Okay, and the other thing is, right now, if the parking is not proper, they just receive a warning. There's no tickets or anything that's being administered at this time?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, we can't, nobody can really ticket them because there's no actual regulation against it.
Okay.
It's just public parking, but the school resource officer does do checks periodically to see what it looks like in the neighborhood streets around. And he tries to encourage students to park at Andrews Field where they should.
Okay. Thank you.
Further comments or discussion or questions?
I have no more at this time.
I have none.
I have none.
None.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. I need somebody to move item E.
I move item E for discussion. Ward Street changes.
Okay, Mr. Young again.
So TMP has begun construction on new sidewalks on both Ward Street and Adams Avenue. This is near the Battle of the Rocks Memorial. On Ward Street specifically, so this is a one-way street, as you may be aware, leading from Adams Avenue up to near where the cemetery is. So we're adding a sidewalk along the entirety of the northeast side of Ward Street. So while we are using public right-of-way and we're not narrowing the road too much, there are some sections where for safety and to help calm traffic, the road will be narrowed somewhat. So the road gets to be narrowed as low as 18 feet on the approach to Jarvis Street. So if you can imagine a parking lane which is about 7 to 8 feet wide, that leaves just 10 to 11 feet for a travel lane. So we'd like to restrict parking on at least one side of the street. So we can't have two parking lanes with 7 feet on both sides. So we did some parking counts before the project even started, and we found that most people who do park on street on Ward Street, they park on the southwest side, which is the green side in this little figure here. So we're going to keep and maintain on-street parking there, but implements a new no parking anytime restriction on the northeast side, which is it happens to be where the sidewalk is going. So that will help maintain a nice single travel lane down the entirety of Ward Street, while also maintaining parking on one side of that street.
Questions, comments?
And that's during the projected project, is that right?
No, to be clear, this is permanent. So this would be, I mean, it would apply both during construction and also after construction because of the slight narrowing of the roadway on Ward Street.
Because of the sidewalk, you're narrowing it, correct?
Yes. And there's only when we did our parking counts overnight on a typical weekday, we only found one car, I believe, that was actually parked on the side of the street that's red. So it would have a pretty minimal impact on where people need to relocate their parking spaces.
But you said you found that one car during the week, during the day, but what about
overnight?
After working
overnight.
hours?
Yeah, this was overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Further comment or questions?
I have none.
No comments. I have no questions.
One last question. Was the community surveyed on the elimination of such parking?
The community was not surveyed on it. We will obviously let everybody know well in advance of the changes. We've already notified the entire neighborhood, of course, before the construction started of the sidewalk project, because the anticipated impact to where people need to shift their parking patterns is relatively minimal. Again, 1 or 2 cars. We didn't anticipate we would have to survey the neighborhood on that.
But would they know about the permanency, or do they know about the permanency that you've just articulated?
The signage will be posted with our typical standard no parking anytime signs, which will be permanent. It will be installed in the sidewalk or in the curbside frontage, as opposed to just being on barrels or something like that.
I would just have hoped that some preliminary outreach would have been made prior rather than after. It just seems that it's being done after the fact.
Understood. Yeah, we, you know, we did hold a public meeting for the sidewalk project in general in December 2024. One of the I believe the mitigations that were proposed for the potential narrowing of the roadway was this no parking anytime restriction. So the public meeting was held here at City Hall. Not too many residents came by, so it's you know, it's possible that the word didn't get out as much as it could have.
In
But
your subsequent outreach that you've indicated that you're going to try to reach out, can you make it known about the importance of the limited now number of feet that you just referenced earlier that there will be, and that's the reason why you're going to now need to not have any more parking on that side? Can you make that very clear?
yes, yeah, we
Okay.
can certainly do that.
And make it in layman's terms.
Yeah, and the way that the street will be striped, it will also be kind of intuitive which side to park on. There should be a white line on the southwest side that sort of indicates that, you know, this is a parking lane, or maybe it won't be white, it might be yellow, but yellow or white line that will show that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
Any further?
Young, does it ever make sense to share the wealth, meaning half on one side and half on the other? Although I understand about the sidewalk and part of the beauty of a street having a sidewalk, and you hate to block it by cars, but I would hate to be the side of the street where everybody's parking. And I know you could still end up being the part of the street where everybody's parking, even if it's half.
Yeah. So what we found is that there's pros and cons to sharing the wealth, as you say. I mean, some people actually prefer having to live on the side of the street where there is parking, just because it's easier to access. In this case, Ward Street being one way, you're parking on the left side of the street, so that's the driver would open their door to the side facing away from the travel lane, which is nice. It's a little safer in that sense.
Okay.
And you know, but yeah, I acknowledge that there are, you know, some cons to this. It's something that we could always consider going forward in the future if there are issues raised by the residents. So yeah, thank you for that feedback.
Thank you.
Anything further?
I have
none.
none.
I have none.
I have none.
Seeing all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Next, we can move forward with item F.
I'll move item F forward for discussion. And that has to do with the approval of the parking regulations as it pertains to Howard Avenue.
Thank you. And Mr. Young will discuss this, and you've heard Ms. Cece's concerns.
Yes.
If you can address some of those concerns during your discussion, that would be helpful.
Sure. So Howard Avenue, we have some pictures in the back here which show so Howard Avenue is a two-way street, but it's only the roadway width is as low as 22 feet, which is a typical travel lane is about 10 to 11 feet. So really it's tight to have parking even on one side. So people are parking on one side of the street in general here, alongside the new development that Ms. Cece referenced. This is 93 Winfield. Those are the larger buildings in the back there. You can also see another angle here. So the problem that nearby residents had raised to us is, as you're approaching this roadway curve, when there's cars parked alongside here, you have to shift to kind of the wrong side of the road to proceed, and you don't see if anybody might be coming on the other side. So it raises the risk of a head-on collision. So you know, we did our field investigation. We took some parking counts to see that yes, this does seem to be a problem that is persisting. So what we're proposing is to establish a no parking regulation on both sides of the road. The reason why we're not just doing it on the side that people are already parking on is because we don't want people to just shift to the other side of the street. So in general, along Howard Ave, there are it's a good length of street, and people are only really parking seemingly close to this curve. So people would still be permitted to park either west or east of the proposed restricted area. So it would add, you know, maybe a couple 100 feet to their walk, but that parking would still be available to them. So, and again, here's the summary of, you know, the limits of where we plan to install the no parking anytime restriction. It's a relatively short segment of Howard Avenue. So because it was a relatively short segment of Howard Avenue, and there are ample, you know, there's ample frontage to relocate these street parking spaces. We did not do a thorough community survey for this particular restriction. But you know, we had, of course, received the resident feedback from the property owner, I think at either 8 or 10 Howard Avenue that had requested in the first place. We received support for the restriction from the woman who lives at 11 Howard Avenue. And over the weekend, since we put the agenda out, we actually got 2 other emails from nearby residents who also support the Howard Ave restrictions. So to address Ms. Cece's concerns, it's not out of the question that we could potentially table this if you and the commissioners feel that we do need to do our due diligence and make sure that everybody in this area is on board with it. I will leave that decision to you all, but I'm here to answer any questions.
So, approximately, let me see, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 houses that are going to be directly affected by this. So do you have an idea as to how many residences will need to be contacted to get their opinion, or if they have an opinion?
So in terms of direct impact, it's really, I think mostly only 8, and I think there's a house back here, so maybe 8.5, 8, 10, and 11 Howard Avenue, maybe 6 Howard Avenue as well, plus the residents of 93 Winfield, which technically do already have their own off-street parking. So it would be 4 households and the new townhome or condo complex at 93 Winfield.
Yeah, of those 4 residences, we have an okay from 3 of them, from 8 10 and 11, and you said you got a few more that supported by
Yeah,
email.
at least two of those three. At least I'll double check the address of the original person who put in the request. But it was either 8 or 10, and then 11 as well.
Mr. Young, if
Yes.
you have the time, as you just stated, to contact the rest of the residents, and it's not going to affect anything, I'd recommend contacting all of the residents before you have to really put the signs up or do whatever needs to be done. Since there's a new development there, it may not be a bad idea to contact the residents.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to having you do that. And
Well, that's well and good, but I'm really concerned about this possibility of head-on collisions.
So
And
that's, yeah, we didn't
that's a
want
real
to
concern.
necessarily hesitate on it too much longer because you know, it's a safety issue. That's the reason why
Yes,
we're
I
introducing
mean, and
this.
that's
Well,
a
Mr.
very
Young,
valid safety issue.
I have a question on, if you look at the pictures, those two pictures, the street pictures, and not to minimize the limited line of sight, of course, but that bush that's sticking out on the line of sight there, that one on the right, and if you're coming on the other angle, you'll see the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know whose responsibility it is for pruning, but that should help, wouldn't it? I mean, I have to think that is
Yeah.
blocking my sight. So who is responsible for that?
So that one, judging from the way it is, I believe it's growing from within the property line. So I'm pretty sure it is the property owner's responsibility.
So can
So,
we address that as well? I'm
oh,
again, I'm not looking
certainly.
to
Yeah.
minimize the
Yeah.
limited line of sight. I'm just saying, even as we look to survey the residents, I think that we could do that. We could even add a mirror, whatever it takes until we, survey the residents and get if necessary, the signs in place. But at least we would have done what we needed to do to mitigate the danger.
Yeah, so we'll certainly reach out to the property owner to help us and get this bush trimmed. If it hasn't been already, it might have been. This photo is from March, but to your point, Commissioner Lopez, regarding the mirror, TMP, we don't generally like to install convex mirrors
No, and I'm not
anymore. Yeah.
proposing to do that just out of anything. I'm just,
Yeah.
in other words, buying time. Can we buy time while we at least survey some of the people? And in that buying, to address Commissioner Clemens's point, we don't
Yeah.
want an accident. I certainly don't want one either. So can we mitigate that danger in the interim while you do your fact-finding mission?
Yeah, we can do that. That's a great idea.
Mr. Young, well, I certainly appreciate and respect what Ms. Cece is doing, being an advocate for the neighborhood. But I do think it's a safety issue. Until you complete all your due diligence, possibly taking away one side of the road parking for now as a start?
We could start with that. So do you mean, say, like taking away the side of taking parking away from the side of the street that people are parking on, this side with the sidewalk?
I would say wherever the worst blind spot is.
Yeah, so I mean, we could definitely, at least we could take it away from, I'd say, the inside of this curve. I think
That's what
people park here less frequently, but obviously when it does happen, it really causes issues. So,
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be both sides, but at least until you complete your due diligence and speak to the neighbors, and because it certainly looks to be a major safety issue that could indeed cause a head-on collision.
Yeah, that's something we could consider.
My question is, how long does it take since we have fewer than 10 residents that we have to contact, that have to be contacted? How long is that gonna take?
Contacting the residents could happen this week. We could, leave it open for their feedback for a couple weeks and we'd still be, well ahead of next month's meeting.
Okay, because I know when we approve projects for closures and parking, it doesn't immediately happen. It takes a few weeks before the signs are up and so forth, even when due diligence has been done. So with that few
Yeah,
number
so,
of
sorry, yeah.
residents, yeah, having to be contacted, can we expedite that? And gives it, because I'm really concerned about the safety
Yeah,
aspect
so
of it.
that's also a possibility. And yeah, like I wrote in the letter, we would be notifying residents of the change regardless, basically as soon as this was approved. And there's about the 2 to 3 week gap between, when something gets approved here and then we have to choose locations for the signs, check that there's no underground obstructions for the new posts, all that stuff. And then, just order the signs and make time to get them installed. So that's a few weeks. So um so commissioners, do you think would you rather approve this today, and obviously before we install the signage, we'll make sure to notify the residents, at both at the households and also at the 93 Winfield complex. We can also try to get in touch with maybe the management at 93 Winfield to see if some of the problem is being contributed by, say, visitors to 93 Winfield, and encouraging them to try to accommodate visitor or resident parking within their own lot. Would you rather have us do that with your approval today, or table that to next month?
Well,
Commissioners?
go ahead, I thought I heard somebody else.
I was just gonna quickly add, none of us on this commission would want an accident to occur, and we cannot anticipate that an accident can happen, of course. And all I'm just merely just suggesting, as I indicated before, that the Norwalk Traffic Authority do everything it can in its power with signage, with a mirror, whatever it may take to completely lower that risk completely to the point where it gives you breathing room to survey, whatever that may take. It may take, yes, what was suggested already on one side, blocking it off. And that's what I think that we should consider. What we don't want, and if we need to have a special meeting, we can. We can call, we've called special meetings for other things. So if this is a real peril here, we need to, I think, tread carefully, and make sure that we act on it as soon as we possibly can.
So Commissioner Lopez or any of the other commissioners, are you leaning in the direction of tabling this item?
Tabling the item only if we can lower, that is mitigate, right, the exposure that there is right now there. And so whatever it takes with signage, with pruning, with eliminating one side if that's necessary. And what I'm saying is we don't want to just table and all of a sudden next week, tomorrow, there's a big accident there. How would we feel? Not good.
I'm not in favor of tabling this item.
Nor am I, Mayor.
Okay, so that sounds like the item should be moved forward. Mr. Jung, you've heard from the commissioners as to their concerns about notifying residents, about looking at the signage and the foliage and so forth. And I'm sure that you will do your due diligence to make sure that all those concerns are addressed.
Yes, indeed.
And I'd also like for you to inform us that this has been done and the dates.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I have none based on what I've heard, and I know that it's going to be moved forward, and hopefully it can be expedited so that now that we know about it, so that there is no accidents.
I have none.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next two items, we move them together. If there is no objection, items G and H.
So moved, Mayor.
Commissioner Palladino, that's reference to a school zone request to the traffic OSTA for Highland Avenue and for sections of Van Buren Avenue. Mr. Young, you want to just go over that for us?
Yep. So Highland Avenue, we actually have a state-approved school zone already in place for Rhoton Middle School. We just want to expand that northward to include more of Highland Avenue, specifically Brian McMahon, and also Brookside Elementary. We've gotten feedback from residents about speeding on Highland Avenue, even with some of the new pavement markings and sidewalk installations and crosswalk installations that have been going on. So implementing a school zone with flashers and potentially speed radar signs would be a step in the direction of calming traffic for this location. So the proposal is for a school zone on Highland Avenue, and that would be a 20-mile-per-hour school zone speed limit during the pickup and drop-off periods of those schools. So similarly, for the area around Jefferson Elementary, we have gotten feedback directly from the school administration about some of the traffic issues and safety issues that they face every day during pickup and drop-off. So similarly, we'd like to implement an official state-approved school zone. This would include a small portion of State Route 1 because this is a kind of a larger arterial and a wider street. The proposal is to reduce that 30-mile-per-hour speed limit to 25 along Route 1. And then for the other city streets around Jefferson, the school zone speed limit would be 20 miles per hour. And this would be in effect during, again, the pickup and drop-off periods for Jefferson Elementary.
Any questions from the commission or the authority?
I have none
I have
based
none.
on what you just said.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That concludes the agenda. The next meeting is Monday, October 20th at 4 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
I
moved, Mayor.
move to adjourn.
We are adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? We are adjourned at 5:06 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.